السلام عليكم أعزائي المشاهدين، أهلا بكم في حلقة جديدة. إزاي تتكلم عربي? So, I'm guessing if you've clicked on this video, you've probably told yourself that this is the year I'm gonna learn Arabic. 2025 is the year I'm going to lock in. You've probably told yourself that one, right? And maybe last year, maybe the year before, so on and so forth. But no, this year is your year. If right now you're wondering to yourself, I've clicked on this video, why should I really listen to you? Firstly, it's a fair question, and secondly, well, I speak six languages, Arabic being one of them, and I also had to go through the process of learning it. So I think I'm in a decent position to give some advice regarding the topic. Myself, back in the day, I actually began with some casual self-study, dabbling in some videos here and there, in some courses here and there, but I wasn't really serious. But no, likewise, I wasn't really serious, you can say, until I took the decision to move to Egypt for some time to unlock full immersion, a topic we'll return to later in the video. So in this video, hopefully we'll discuss some techniques you can utilize to enhance your Arabic learning if you already started, or some tips and ways to actually get things going. And I'll also share some resources. So Yalla Bina, step 1, Duolingo. What's better than racking up streaks and giving yourself motivation to learn? Now, in fact, scrap that. If you're unserious about learning, especially Arabic or languages in general, then sure, go for it. Duolingo is the best bet. If you're actually serious and trying to make proper progress and talk to natives, even hell, sound like natives, then no, stay away from Duolingo. Don't think about installing it. If you've already installed it, then please, for your own sake, go ahead and delete it. So no, the actual step number one is choosing between a dialect or Fusha. Unfortunately, Arabic isn't just a monolith. Depending on where you go, different dialects going to be spoken, and even within the same country, the dialects may vary. For example, Egypt, you'll have Scandinavian Arabic and Qahira Arabic. So yeah, it genuinely depends on your goals. If one of your goals is to travel to the various different Arab lands, then potentially picking up a dialect is the best option for you. If it's more religious or academic or scholarly or translation work, then yeah, I guess Fusha is probably the best option. But no, realistically, learning a dialect tends to be easier. Fusha is a much more involved process. It comes with a lot of rules, I guess, that you can say that the dialects kind of scrap, making it easier for people to speak. Having said that, Fusha still lays a solid foundation, and although the general Arab populace don't actually use it to communicate with each other, if as a non-native Arab or a non-native speaker you do choose to speak with them in Fusha, they will fully understand you and will probably respond back in their own dialect or maybe even in Fusha. But no, they'll understand you just fine, so don't worry about it. The next step is hopefully quite self-explanatory. Start by actually learning the script. I guess some of you can, especially if you're Muslim, potentially you can skip this part, but starting with the script, obviously, especially with Arabic, is going to be quite different due to the reading style for a start, reading from right to left. The letters are completely different. Maybe if you're familiar with Urdu or Farsi, then sure, you have maybe some slight advantage. For the most part, you want to stick to pronouncing the letters correctly. For example, one of the names of the Arabic languages is the language of the Dad, the letter Dad. It's one of the very, very few languages. I think there's some other African languages that also use this letter, but it's one of the few languages on earth that actually use it. So a lot of the time, foreigners do tend to struggle to pronounce it. Likewise, the Ain. So yeah, you definitely want to perfect this. So yeah, further down the line, this will help with reading, pronunciation, intonation, all that kind of good stuff. So another thing that you might want to be aware of is the fact that the vowels, for the most part, aren't actually written. They're short vowels. That is, symbols or diacritical marks are used to denote the short vowels, known as harakat. But eventually what will happen is you'll see a word for the 50th or 100th time without the marks. This will obviously come with repetition, you encountering the word again and again, but the most vital step here is to learn the different diacritical marks, what they mean, what they do to the word, how they change the word, how they change the pronunciation, so on and so forth. So to kind of familiarize yourself with the alphabet and the sounds and the pronunciation, some useful resources are Arabic Pod 101, The Arabic Coach, and also Learn with Software. All of these kind of resources that I do mention throughout the video, I'll be sure to link them down below. So another step, not necessarily an extra step, but another step that you can start doing for, especially for unfamiliar languages like Arabic, is to already start listening and consuming content in that language. The benefit of this is you're familiarizing yourself with the sounds, with how people actually speak, the pace that they speak at, and stuff like that. So essentially, you're customizing yourself to the way that it's naturally spoken. For example, if I was to play a sound clip in German, you'd probably A, be able to recognize it as German, and B, some of you may even be able to recognize some of the words involved, but you may not speak German, right? So the goal here is to get Arabic to a similar level where you may hear a word, not have a clue what it means, but still be able to kind of say it back. Step 3 would be to start learning basic words and phrases. There's a lot of people who want to jump straight into the grammar, the technical side of things, the nahu, the sarf. But some of the best advice that I've personally received is kalimat, literally learn and memorize words. Basic everyday vocabulary. Because essentially, in your sentences, or when you want to form sentences, I guess, and express needs or desires, guess what? Surprise, surprise, you're going to be using words, right? So words such as book, potentially household words, the rooms, stuff that you find in your kitchen, so on and so forth, right? So start memorizing vocab as soon as possible. Some pretty vanilla resources when it comes to this are books such as Bayna Yadayk. You can find, I guess, pictures with the corresponding words, so on and so forth. All the kind of YouTube channels that I recommended earlier. So again, you can use the resources that I gave before, right? To start memorizing vocab, write it down, I don't know, books, notes, Anki, whatever it may be. Just start memorizing words. Now we're going to get into some textbook recommendations. So before we get into some dialect specific recommendations, I'm going to give you some general, you can call it fosha, but essentially the words are the same, right? For the most part. So the first one, like I said to you, Arabi Bayna Yadayk, sort of recommendation. Another recommendation would be the Medinah books. This one happens to be in French, Tom de Medine, but essentially very, very similar. So yeah, this is actually on the official curriculum in the Medina University. But again, there's many exercises. Most of it's vocab, some expressions, how to introduce yourself, a lot of reading exercises and stuff like that. Has the harakat, the marks. So it's pretty beginner friendly, you can say. A book that I used in the past was called Colloquial Arabic of Egypt. So essentially, this will, I guess you can skip potentially the first couple of chapters, but which do introduce you to the sounds and whatnot. But now, if you are learning a dialect, keep in mind that some of the sounds differ from region to region. For example, the qaf. Oftentimes in the Khalij region, the qaf will be pronounced as a G sound, as a g. So qahwa will become gahwa, so on and so forth, right? And likewise in the Levant, in Sham, in Egypt, the qaf is not pronounced at all. It's pronounced as a hamza. So yeah, I guess keep that in mind, that the alphabet that you did learn initially, the standard alphabet, pronunciation may differ from region to region. But no, this textbook is very good in the sense of it'll introduce you to new topics. So for example, life or household affairs or shopping and stuff like that, food and drink, and will introduce you to sentences regarding them. Another top tier resource, absolutely free of charge, is this lisanmasri.org. It's especially useful, I would say, for the grammar section. I wouldn't say that there's a topic that hasn't been covered on this website. For example, nouns, pronouns, adjectives, verbs, so on and so forth, how to do negation, all that kind of good stuff. So definitely give this a check. Another website I'll link to in the description is Polyglot Club. Obviously the Egyptian section. And again, I don't think there's a topic that hasn't been discussed in detail on this. So yeah, I'll be sure to link that as well. In terms of listening recommendations, there's a staple that I discovered maybe last year or so. It's called quite literally Introduction to Egyptian Arabic. It's by a company called Language Transfer. I'm not too sure if it's actually a company or just something else, but they do cover other languages as well. But the Arabic one here is especially useful. You can find it on YouTube and SoundCloud, stuff like that. I'll be sure to link to it, but they essentially break down concepts with a historical context. And it's not just a podcast, as per se. There is a non-Arab student present as well, so it does feel like you're kind of part of the classroom. So yeah, it's very engaging. My overall advice for listening or content in general would be find stuff that you actually like, and are actually interested in. Essentially, long story short, if you're not interested, you're not going to pay attention. If you're not going to pay attention, the goal that you had at the beginning will kind of crumble and disappear. This could be anything. This could be YouTube videos, series you find on Netflix, films, so on and so forth. The list goes on. So find something, slow it down if you have to. On a lot of these platforms, you could do 0.75 speed, 0.5 speed if needs be. Slow it down. Make note of the vocab as you go along. There's an extremely useful extension called Language Reactor. You can install it, and essentially it'll load up the subtitles in English or a chosen language, and Arabic as well. But no, you can essentially highlight new vocab, or you can mark it as new or learned or something like that. And I think you can even assign a difficulty. But no, this extension will work in YouTube, it'll work in Netflix as well. So no, definitely do your own research when it comes to resources and things that you do find engaging. Some personal resources that I found are New Media Academy Life, mainly in the Egyptian dialect. He essentially covers trending topics, very, very engaging as well. And again, you can use extensions like Language Reactor or just the plain old subtitles and follow along. So in terms of other podcasts, which are more on a interview kind of format, there are a couple that I do find very, very interesting. One being a fella called Hikmat Wahbi, interviews a variety of different guests, so exposing you to different dialects and stuff. And another one, Anas Bokhash, again, interviews different people from around the Arab-speaking world. So again, it'll expose you to different dialects. So yeah, I'll be sure to leave the resources that I mentioned in this video in the description, along with other resources too. Hopefully you find that very, very helpful. But the main advice I can really give, once you get past a kind of basic stage and you are in a kind of intermediate stage where you can form sentences without thinking too much, how to say things, and you can just kind of spit it out, right, is to talk to people. Immerse yourself. If you can't or don't have the means to travel to a different country, fair enough. I mean, look, even if you're from the UK, right, there are no-go zones, as they like to say. You can go there and practice your Arabic, for example. I mean, Edgware Road, stuff like that. But yeah, just don't be shy, essentially. No one's going to laugh at you. Even if you make mistakes, it's all part of the process. You have to make mistakes and kind of learn from them. It's very, very similar process to the gym, right? Progressive overload. It's the same thing here. You learn, you implement, you might make a mistake, but next time, maybe when you're doing your shopping or you're asking Bossman for a discount, you can try again. Unlimited attempts. If you get something wrong, it's not the end of the world. No one's gonna laugh at you. Some other educational resources, not really entertainment. I guess they do make entertaining videos as well, you can say. Some YouTubers I do recommend are Mr. Bakr, I believe his name is, or his name's pronounced, and another fella called Linguamid. Both Egyptian chaps. I'll leave them in the description as well. But no, they do make videos on pretty much everything. So now you're listening to Arabic being spoken in different contexts, right? So that's the main thing. Another channel, Easy Arabic. They speak extremely slowly, not snail type slow, but they do speak slowly enough for learners to essentially understand them. Some subtitles as well. So yeah, you can check via the playlist that they have, different type of Arabic that they speak in. And it's authentic, right? They just do street interviews. So it's the way people speak at the end of the day. So yeah, stay consistent. Do check out the description. I'll be sure to leave all the various different resources that I mentioned. Like I said, find what you like, find what works for you, and enjoy the process. I guess that's the main thing. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you like this video, I'll potentially make a Fusha specific video, and potentially videos regarding other languages as well, how to learn X, Y, Z. So yeah, until next time, peace.